It was dusk in Lagos, and the humid wind carried with it the echo of a million restless footsteps. Street vendors shouted their last calls. Neon lights from billboards glared down, advertising perfumes, wigs, and creams that promised European beauty. The city pulsed, alive yet suffocating. And in the heart of it sat Kelechi, a man with fire in his eyes and a burden heavy in his chest. He watched his people, his brothers and sisters, walking draped in a coat that was not theirs. It was a coat stitched with inferiority, woven by centuries of chains, blood, and lies. A coat that made them squirm in their own dark skin, curl their lips at their woolly hair, and bow their heads at the altar of Europe. Had the Europeans been dark as night, Kelechi muttered to himself, Africans would tan themselves. Had the Europeans grown hair like the lamb's wool, our people would shear themselves raw just to appear the opposite. His voice trembled, not from weakness, but from rage. It was the rage of a continent that once stood proud, crumbling under the shadow of another. For slavery had done more than steal bodies, it had stolen sight. That, enslaved now, saw through the eyes of their masters, and their definitions of beauty, of strength, of worth, were no longer their own. Kelechi remembered his grandmother's stories. She spoke of a time when dark skin was revered as the shield of the sun, when woolly hair was seen as a crown, rising toward the heavens. Before the whips cracked, before the ships arrived, before the Bible was used as a chain, Africans stood unashamed, but time had twisted everything. Now the markets overflowed with bleaching creams. Young girls whispered about marrying men with foreign blood. Boys mocked one another for speaking their native tongues. Elders abandoned ancestral shrines, fearing ridicule for backwardness. Africans had learned to despise themselves, and they wore that coat with pride, mistaking it for progress. But Kelechi was not convinced. He began a journey, moving from village to village, city to city, speaking to anyone who would listen. His words were sharp, a blade cutting through illusions. "Look at your skin," he thundered in a crowded square in Accra. "It does not burn under the sun's rage, it thrives. You are clothed with melanin, a natural armor against time and disease. Do you not see the blessing in your reflection?" The crowd murmured. Some nodded, others laughed, but he pressed on. "And your hair, woolly, coiled, defiant. It defies gravity, pointing always upward, a crown no wind can break. You straighten it, burn it, cut it, ashamed of it, yet it is the very symbol of resilience. If the Europeans had it, you would worship it. If they had your skin, you would envy it. Why do you value yourselves only through their mirror?" His words spread like wildfire. Some resisted him, accusing him of stirring rebellion against modernity. But others felt chains snap inside their souls. They remembered what was buried. They remembered Africa's originality. One night, in the shadow of Kilimanjaro, Kelechi gathered a small group of young Africans. They sat in silence as he spoke with raw conviction. "Mental slavery is worse than chains," he said. "Because you can break metal, but you cannot easily break a mind convinced it is inferior. Do you not see? As long as you measure your worth against Europe, you will remain their prisoner, even without whips, even without ships." A tear slid down a young woman's cheek. She had bleached her skin for years, chasing a shade that was never truly hers. Another young man hid his tribal marks, ashamed of his ancestors' ways. They listened, broken yet yearning. Kelechi continued, "Our emancipation will not come from governments, nor from aid, nor from foreign tongues. It will come when we stand before the mirror, see ourselves as we are, and say, 'I am enough, I am blessed, I am Africa.'" The message was not easy to swallow. Africa was bleeding, bled by corruption, poverty, and division. But Kelechi argued that the deepest wound was self-hatred. Without self-love, no unity could last. Without unity, no progress could stand. And so he painted a vision. Imagine an Africa proud of her skin, walking boldly in her woolly crown. Imagine children learning their history, not from colonial texts, but from the songs of their ancestors. Imagine the continent harnessing her sun, her rivers, her soil, not to enrich foreigners, but to feed her own. That Africa exists, it breathes within us. But we must tear off the coat of inferiority and burn it once and for all. His words carried weight. They stirred arguments in universities, debates in markets, whispers in government halls. Some called him a prophet, others called him a fool. But he did not stop. The climax came during a massive gathering in Dakar. Tens of thousands gathered, restless and eager. Kelechi stood before them, the air electric. He stretched his arms wide. "Today, I ask you, who are you?" The crowd was silent. "Are you shadows of Europe, forever bleaching, forever imitating, forever kneeling?" "No," voices shouted. "Or are you children of Africa, clothed in sunlight, crowned with resilience, heirs of kingdoms older than Rome?" "Yes." Tears fell freely, not of sorrow, but of awakening. For the first time, many saw themselves not as victims of history, but as its authors. The code of inferiority did not vanish overnight, but a spark had been lit, and sparks spread faster than chains can bind. Kelechi's final words rang across the continent, echoing into the hearts of millions. "Your dark skin is a gift. It shields you, heals you, preserves you. Your woolly hair is a crown, defiant, eternal. Your land is blessed, rich beyond measure. Do not wear the coat of inferiority another day. Tear it off, stand tall. For Africa is not a shadow, Africa is the sun." And in that moment, it was as if the continent itself exhaled, ready to rise again.